Okay, nice. So I'm recording now, which means that people that are here will have access to the recording after the session. So I said it earlier that tell a friend to tell a friend to join this class. If you know your bestie needs to be in tech and they are not yet in tech, this is the opportunity to let them understand what tech is about, especially software testing and cloud computing. So I would say that you send them the link to this class. Don't be stingy. If your brother, your sister that is always asking for urgent 2K needs to be here, and you too that is always asking, don't leave in the middle of the class because it's going to be very beneficial. So I said it earlier that Travel Tech Academy put together this class and it promises to be amazing. Now, what is Travel Tech Academy? What do they do? What organization is this? Travel Tech Academy is a tech academy that helps people transition into tech careers of their choices with zero or no code. So, or low code rather. So it means that it is possible to be a tech sis, a tech bro, a tech guru without doing coding, without learning programming. For some of us, like someone like me, that do not like all the shenanigans of coding. I mean, coding is cool, but it's not just my thing. Tech without coding has been saving lives. And this is exactly what Travel Tech Academy does. So Travel Tech Academy is actually a company under Travel Technologies. They have other company subsidiaries on that, and so Travel Tech Academy really. And today, what this class is about is we're going to be talking about two career paths in tech, which is cloud computing and automation software testing. So don't fret, don't worry. The name sounds big, right? But if you have never heard about any of this career path, don't think, this class is not for me. No, this class is definitely for you. And if you have heard about this career path, but you're still in the place or in a line of making a final decision, should I not, should I, yes, no, no, yes, what should I do? Oh, that. This is the place for you to have more knowledge about the career path. Now, let's say you already have robust knowledge about this career path, both software testing or cloud computing, but then you are a master, you're a professional at your level. This class is also for you because your wealth of experience is also welcome. But then, because we are adults here, we need to be orderly. We need to be very, very orderly and arranged. Now, Google Meet, which is the platform we are using for this call, has made life easier. Three people should not talk at the same time because it's not going to be wise enough. I mean, imagine I'm talking, two other people are talking at the same time. Please mute your mic as you join this call. Imagine I'm talking and two other people are talking. It's definitely going to disrupt the call and nobody would hear anything. So for the sake of orderliness, there is a microphone button on your screen. If you want to talk, you have to use the microphone button. But if you're not talking, please make sure you are muted. Now, to talk, don't just unmute yourself. It is rude on this call to just unmute yourself. Please, I will remove. Okay. On this call, there are rules and regulation, right? The first thing is if you want to speak, there's a hand button on your screen that looks like a palm. So whether you're using a computer or a phone, you click on the hand button, it makes you raise your hand. So once you raise your hand, automatically a queue is created and I can see the list of people whose hands are raised. Then I can allow them speak one after the other. If you know you don't want us to hear your voice, you're shy, you don't want us to know how sweet your voice sounds, no problem. There's a chat box where you can send a message to. So if you're using a computer, like a desktop or laptop, you would see a message icon beside the people icon. Click on the message icon, it takes you to the chat box and everyone sees what you're saying. And if you're using a phone, click on the three dots on your screen below and you would see in-call messages. If you click on in-call messages, it makes you type and every single person on this call can see whatever you typed. So be careful what you type. Don't be insulting, be very polite, don't be rude to anybody, and let's just maintain orderliness. Now, peradventure, somebody on this call says, I'm not going to listen to my instruction, or they're not going to listen to me, and they decide to talk when I've not granted them permission. I have the full rights, none withheld, to withdraw anybody from this call if the person is constituting nuisance. So please, let's be orderly and arranged. Now I know you're wondering who is the person talking, what does she do, why is she talking to us and all. Anyway, I'm the beautiful woman on your screen, Ayomi Adeni. I'm your host for today. I'm the brand manager at Travel Tech Academy, and I know how to ask questions a lot. So I have 3 guest speakers, 2 that will be talking about cloud computing, and 1 beautiful woman talking about software testing. The 3 of my speakers are well-seasoned professionals and tech gurus. And so I have compiled a list of questions that would allow everyone, whether you're a newbie, a new person to tech, or you're an intermediate level, you're looking to get a job, or you're already on the job, you're looking to advance your career. These questions are going to address your questions. But peradventure, there's a question on the list. There's a question that's on your mind that is not on the list, and you think you have questions. You are welcome to ask your question, but don't forget the rules of the game. You have to raise your hand before you speak. And if you do not want to speak, you have to use the chat box. So once again, let us be orderly. Now, this class is being recorded for people who are here that want to have access after this class. The class will be shared to our community. If you're not on our community, don't worry. As time goes on, the link to the community will be sent here, and you would have access to join our community. Our community is free, by the way, and we're doing well. So I'm going to be introducing my guest speakers one after the other, and I'll start with the beautiful woman on your screen. Can everybody see the flyers on the screen? If you can, use an emoji to respond, or you can unmute in next 1 minute and tell me if you can see the picture on the screen. Okay, Theophilus, Islamia, Temitayo, Sunday, Suzanne, yes, Olushola, I see your thumbs up. Apochi, I see your thumbs up. Rafiu, yes, thank you so much. Rachel, thank you. Okay, so everybody can see the picture. Now, you can see a beautiful woman beside me. Now, she's my guest speaker for software testing today, and her name is Blessing Olaya. So I'd like you to jam your hands together wherever you are. You don't need to unmute yourself to jam your hands, don't worry. You can send emojis to welcome. Thank you, Theophilus. Mary, yes, thank you. To welcome Blessing here to the podium. So, Blessing, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Blessing. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Hi, Ayomide.
Yes, it's so nice to have you here. Thank you for coming. And I hope that we're going to have a very awesome time learning from you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so in 1 minute or 2 minutes, I would like you to introduce yourself to everybody here. Let us know you better, at least to have a better idea of who we are going to be listening to.
Okay. Thank you all for joining this call. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Blessing Olaya, and I'm a software quality assurance engineer. I have more than 4 years experience testing software, and I'll be your guest speaker for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blessing. 4 years, no be being shy. For anybody that is here and you want to learn, get your writing materials ready. Don't be asking us questions after she has answered your question. Get a pen. Thank you. Someone is already saying welcome. You people did not write welcome to me. You're writing welcome to her because I don't have 4 years experience. I'll be no problem. Life no balance, as they say. But then I will not be annoyed. So if you know that you are someone who you forget things easily, even if you don't, my favorite quote of all time is the faintest pen is sharper than the sharpest memory. So please have a writing material. You can use your notepad or the traditional way and write. Thank you. So thank you so much, Blessing, for being here. I mean, I know that it's weekend and you could actually be having fun, maybe being in a cinema or something, but you decided to grace us with your presence and teach us from your well of knowledge. It's so amazing to have you here. Thank you, Blessing. Now, the next person I'm going to be calling up to the podium is Favor. Favor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Favor. How are you?
I'm doing well. We are good, so.
I'm good. Favor is my paddy, everybody. Favor has been on this call before, and so it's my paddy. So he understands that he's going to be on the hot seat soon. So I guess he's already taking enough water that will sustain him for the class. Right, Favor?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so please introduce yourself to people in the next 2 minutes. Let's know who Favor is and why we should listen to Favor.
Okay, so my name is Favor. I'm a cloud engineer. I've had various cloud roles as a solutions architect and also as a site reliability engineer. And I've worked with various cloud platforms, including Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. But today we're going to be talking about AWS, and I'm excited to answer your questions today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Favor. Cloud engineer. All this. I remember when I was younger and I had this engineer uncle. So I used to think I would be an engineer when I grew up because engineer, you know the way it sounds like engineer. And you know those days now, if you're an engineer, you're making money, you'll be wearing all these construction helmets rather. So I had goals of becoming an engineer, but look at me today. I'm not engineering anything. Thank God I didn't even do the engineering because when I did physics in my first degree, it was not funny at all. So, but let's thank God for where God has brought us. So, Favor, it's such an opportunity for you to be here, and it's such a pleasure. All the people that are laughing at me, it's not as if you know physics past me, but let's just leave it as it is. So, I'm glad Favor is here. We're going to be learning from Favor's experience too, and you guys are definitely going to enjoy it. Now, the last guest speaker for tonight is Diego. Diego, can you hear me? Kingsley.
Yes, I can hear you, Ayomide.
Hi,
How you
Diego.
doing?
What would you prefer me calling you, Kingsley or Diego?
Diego is just fine. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So when you first joined this call, I saw Diego C. Ugo. And I was not like, is this Ugo C. Ugo? Oh. But then
It's
I
nice
saw
to
you.
remember that book. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
okay. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How about you?
Yeah, great. Doing great too. So please tell us about you, give us an introduction and what we should expect.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Diego, as you've already heard, and I'm a cloud engineer. Um, about me, yes, I've been in a position or several cloud positions rather in the past, right? Cloud implementation engineer, as well as cloud support engineer. I have over 4 years of experience in the field, and yeah, I've worked with Azure, I've worked with AWS as well as Google Cloud, and yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I like to share knowledge and experience. So yeah, I'm excited being here. Thank you for joining.
I don't know why my laptop refused to unmute, but then thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, Diego. And you're welcome. Everybody's already saying
thank
welcome. It's
you.
only me you did not welcome on this call. You see, because let me introduce myself to you people again. Again and again. Which I have a lot of experience, all these things that people are doing. But no problem. Thank you so much for coming. And I know it's going to be an exciting time. So the way it's going to work is I'll be asking questions in turn. So I would specifically mention, oh, Blessing, this question is to you. Diego, this question to you. Favor, this question is to you. But then when the audience decide to ask question, any of you that fits or deems it fits to answer can answer. And I might also say, oh, Blessing, could you help us with that? Or Diego, could you help us with that? And that's how it's going to go. So, like I said earlier, please don't just unmute yourself. If you are here, you're not a guest speaker. For now, you don't have the right to talk unless I say you should. So please, 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 yeah. So now the first question I'm going to be asking is to who should I ask first? Let me ask Favor first. Favor. Now, you said you have years of experience being a cloud engineer, and I know there are some people on this call that they are just wondering, cloud engineer, is it that you always take aeroplane to the cloud to check what is on the cloud? Are you the one that determines the weather? What exactly is cloud engineering, right? And they are wondering. Now, how would you explain cloud computing, cloud engineering to, or let's say cloud computing for a start, to someone who has never heard about this term or this career path before, but they are eager to learn about it? So to a newbie, how would you explain cloud computing?
Okay, so the way I'll start is I'll start by telling everyone that at some point or the other, you've used cloud computing, just that you might not know it, right? So cloud computing, you can see computing is at the back of the name. So it's all about delivering computing services, whether that is in the form of storage, database, networking, software, and the likes. delivering all of these services over the internet. So the reason why that cloud is there is because you are getting that service over the internet. So the easiest example I can use is something like Google Drive or iCloud or any sort of storage service you are using. I believe everybody uses some sort of storage service in today's world, especially if you have a mobile phone. So what that storage service helps you to do is that you are able to store your pictures, your documents, your music, whatever it is, you're able to store it there. And usually, even when sometimes you misplace your phone, you misplace your laptop, you misplace whatever device you are using, you would see that anything you store on the cloud, you can easily get it back, right? That is essentially what cloud computing is all about, using all of these services without keeping them on your primary device. So the example I just gave is for storage, right? Now imagine this for everything, including servers, including software and the likes. Majority of your websites you use today, you can literally mention any website, is most likely hosted on the cloud. Majority of the applications you use on your phone, right, they are most likely hosted on the cloud. And so many services that you use for your day-to-day operations and for your day-to-day just regular living of your life is leveraging the cloud. So I would say cloud computing is just the delivery of computing services over the internet. I hope it makes things a bit clearer for us.
Hmm. The example of storage on our phones using iCloud and Google Drive, I mean, to me, that was clear. But if there's anyone here that still has questions, you're free to drop it on the chat box and ask your question. But then, you know, one thing about when you said all the apps on our phone, or majority of the apps on our phone are served, did you use the word serve or stored on the cloud or something?
Anyone who works, that's it though.
Okay, okay. I don't want to sound like an Olodo now, so that I will not embarrass my ancestors. So the first time I heard about cloud computing, the first thing my mind went to was YouTube. Like, what kind of storage do YouTube use or does YouTube use that makes the app allow like millions of videos? I don't know if it makes sense. I'm like, is this like, do they have their own cloud, or I don't know, like it's just very surprising. Favor, what would you say about that?
Yes, yes. YouTube is a very, very good example, right? Just like you said, you can imagine the millions and millions of videos and the hundreds and thousands of terabytes and petabytes that YouTube will probably be storing, right, for all the videos. And it seems like it can never finish, because today, if I want to upload a video on YouTube, I'll be able to upload it and it will be there. That is
Exactly.
Yes. So that is as a result of cloud computing, right? You cannot see it, but all of these things, all of those videos are being stored somewhere, right? And we call that somewhere the cloud in quotes, but it's not up in the sky like the cloud, right? It is stored somewhere, just that you cannot see it.
Hmm. Makes sense, because I have a YouTube channel, and so there's this video I need to upload, and it's about 11 gigabytes. Now, when I wanted to upload it on my Google Drive, it took like a long time for it to upload because I was using mobile data, and I remembered, oh, let me switch to Wi-Fi, and then it was faster. But then I was now wondering, how does it make sense that I just post this thing on YouTube and it's there on the platform? YouTube never notifies me that storage full or whatever. So I think cloud computing is really an amazing career, and it's definitely going to be exciting. Thank you so much, Favor, for opening our eyes to that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So now I'm going to ask Blessing a question, and this is very similar to the question I asked Favor, but the only difference is I'm not going to be asking her about cloud. Now, Blessing, I know there are people here that are wondering automation software testing. And you also said in your introduction that you have been testing softwares for 4 years. So someone is wondering that, is it that if I become a software tester, I'll just be going on Google and be downloading softwares to test them? Is it working? Is it not working? Like, is that what I'll be doing really? And they want to know more about software testing. And then it says automation again. So how would you explain automation software testing to somebody who has never heard it before or has very little knowledge about it?
Okay, thank you,
You're welcome.
Ayomide. Yeah. So automation testing is, I would explain it as testing a software using a software tool. It's more like you're testing a software with a software. So you're going to be using different tools like maybe Selenium and Cypress and probably JMeter. So when you talk about automation testing, is more like testing the software based on different scenarios using a tool. When I mean tool, if you are meant to test the software based on, like, if you want to run like a load test on the application, you are going to use a tool to like put a kind of users that are not real on the application to see how the application is going to behave based on different users. For instance, I can say, okay, let's say my company has a website, and I can say, okay, let me just put a virtual 1,000 users on my on our software. Let's see how it's going to behave. So I'm going to see how our software is going to behave, the response time, how the system will be responding, if the system is even going to crash eventually. And also, we can also use tools like Selenium and Cypress to test the application based on different scenarios. Like, for instance, I want to test the login functionality of an application. I'll use Selenium and Cypress to test it with valid user, with invalid user, and the likes. So that's just a brief explanation of automation software testing.
In chemistry, there's element called selenium. I wonder, is it a selenium or is another selenium lesson?
No, it's not that Selenium.
Okay.
The Selenium I'm talking about is like an automation end-to-end testing tool.
Oh, I stay for my lane. I was like, oh, it's okay. How do you do that? But I think it makes sense. And actually, part of it said, will the app crash or not? I don't know if it's also part of software testing, but my Samsung phone, I think sometime earlier they decided to upgrade the Android version or something, and then I upgraded it, and the system started misbehaving. So it would just say, whatever app I'm using, stop working. I complained to somebody, and the person is also Samsung user, and he said, it's everybody that upgraded though, that don't upgrade something. I was like, oh wait, is it that they didn't test this whatever thing before they launched it? Or so that there's actually really a professional software testing. I mean, from how you say it, it sounds exciting that you're going to be testing stuff. Let me ask you, are you enjoying it, Blessing?
Yes, I am.
It's the way you said for me. I know that part of the enjoyment is the money part, because that was wow. That's nice. Maybe I should leave my career for that one like this. I don't know. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Now, I saw a chat from Favor that says if you have any question concerning his responses, you can post on the chat and you'll be happy to answer. That's an open blank check. Open blank check. Same thing, tautology. That's a blank check. So please make use of it. So Diego, don't worry, I've not been forgotten. You're still here. You're on my mind.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. And the question is, how did you find yourself in cloud computing? Really? What led to you saying, cloud? Did you just see it on Google and said, I'll be a cloud person? Or did someone convince you? What's your story? What was your background in school? Did you study this in school? I mean, I just want to have a background story about your story in cloud computing.
Okay. All right. So, first of all, you don't learn cloud computing in school, to be honest. I studied computer science, right? But you will not be taught cloud computing in school. That's the truth, right? So what happened with me is when I left school, I was looking at areas to focus on in tech, right? And then I found cloud computing. I read about it. I did some kind of research on it, and it was interesting to me. It was interesting to me as to how can we get to use computing resources over the internet, as opposed to having to purchase your own servers and all those things, right? So it was kind of interesting to me. So I started to look more into it, and then I started to get more interests, I sought for certification, the entry level certification. I got it, and then from there, I became more inquisitive. And then, I got interviewed for a job based on the knowledge I already gathered, uh, online resources, certification and all that. I was able to, get the job in cloud, and that one now built the experience from there. Right. But yeah, like I said, I didn't learn it in school. So after school, I started to, look it up, check it out, and then I found an interest in it and I pursued it. And that is how my cloud computing journey started.
So, sincerely now, when you read about it and you said, "Oh, it seems you're going to go into this," did you see anyone that was already in the field that maybe you asked practical questions?
Well,
Sorry,
okay.
yeah, please mute yourself. Okay, please go ahead.
Well, as at that time, there were few people I could think of, already in the field of cloud computing, right? So I didn't exactly ask lots of people practical questions, right? All I did was I followed people's pages, experts, their pages on Twitter, their pages on YouTube, to learn more about what they do as cloud engineers, right? I didn't have personal relationships with anyone working in the cloud computing area as at that time, right? But yeah, I picked my mentors online, even though they didn't know about it, right? And then I was following them.
So it was a one-sided relationship.
Yeah. Like I was following them, right? I was following them, learning from them. They drop articles, they drop challenges they face sometimes, and I follow them up and learn from them, and it was really interesting to me.
Wow.
So yeah.
No, that's nice. But then I would ask you this. Did you ever regret becoming a cloud computing professional?
No. I'm wondering why that question is coming, because I don't regret it. I mean, that is like the best place I would want to be.
Okay,
right?
now
Because,
the reason I asked, the reason I asked the question was, you said that after you studied computer science, right? And that when you finished, you were thinking of areas in tech. So, and at the same time, you also mentioned that there were not enough people that you knew physically that were really in that field. I know what it can be like to be in a profession where, you have limited people that you can really rub minds with when you start. So I was like, okay, did you ever I feel like I wish there was someone that told me maybe I would have entered it and all that.
Oh, okay, I get your question now. So there are times when you are faced with issues, real issues when working on cloud, in the cloud space, right? So I mean, all these cloud providers, they have very well detailed, exhaustive documentation online there, right? So whatever it is your issue is, you can always find the result or the solution online, right? So I made that a habit. Whenever I have an issue, I go online, documentations, or even YouTube, and I get the solutions I need, right? At times it gets difficult, right? When you face issues, of course, but that's the interesting part of it, because again, I'm someone who loves to I learn faster when there are issues. I don't know if you get that, if that makes sense. So when there are issues, so when there are issues, right, you try to troubleshoot, and then you're learning 1, 2, 3 more things, right, around that issue. So in future, when you have that same issue, you don't even need to do so much to overcome it. So yeah, that's how I scaled my way up until right now.
Okay, thank you so much, Diego. That's very practical. One of the things I could hold on to was when you said you had to go and learn things when issues arose.
Yeah.
But English language can be hard. Arose, yes, it's arose. You have to learn things when issues arose. And I think these days I've come across people who say, "Oh, I want to go into tech," but they are not really hungry for knowledge, and they just think answers will jump at them. But really, there are times you also need to like be intentional to know more, to learn more, to solve issues, and that's how you can also grow.
Yeah,
So I
very
think
correct.
that really resonated with me. Now, one more question.
Okay.
I'm just inquisitive because you studied computer science in school. I'm just even
Mhm.
realizing that computer and computing is very similar. Why did they not teach you computing inside computer? But then,
Okay.
the question is, do you think someone who did not study computer science can become a cloud computing professional? Or do you think it has to be only people that studied computer science in school?
So even if you didn't study sciences at all, you can
Mm,
become a cloud computing professional.
mm,
Like I said, and that is why I laid emphasis on the fact that I wasn't taught cloud computing in school. And I'm very sure many other people weren't taught that because I mean it's basically new tech, and there are not much people or lecturers or that know about it, to be honest. So all it takes from you is just to embrace resources online. In fact, it's even an advantage to us right now because there's almost nothing you need online that you don't get. I don't know if I'm making sense, right?
yeah.
So there are resources online. You can just embrace them, study about them, and then you can start with the basics. You can start with the basics, right? Basics as regards understanding the core cloud concepts, stuff like virtualization, cloud storage, like Favor mentioned, and then also you can decide to pick one of the cloud providers, right? Maybe Microsoft Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, and try to understand exactly how they operate. First of all, embrace resources online, right? You know, go to YouTube, documentations, what is cloud? How can I get into cloud? Those kind of questions. Try to be inquisitive, then you understand the basics. Once you get the basics, then you can now start to explore these cloud providers to try to understand exactly, how they operate, right? And also, it's be good to mention that there are different rules in cloud computing, right? It mustn't be very, very technical rules, to be honest. There are some rules that are technical, of course, where you require deep technical knowledge, right? And then there are rules that are more focused on the business aspects of cloud, right? The business aspect of cloud when it comes to cloud administration, when it comes to sales, right? So you can easily use those rules to ease into the core cloud computing because when you're a salesperson in cloud, you'll be learning some non-technical things about cloud, right? And then from there, if you are hungry for more, if you want to start to deploy things, the technical part of the things now in cloud, you can now go further from there. But the idea is start from the basics. Start from
Mm.
the basics, use online resources, and then you'll be fine.
Thank you so much, Diego. So for
Yep.
everybody on this call, Diego has made it clear that you don't need to study computer science or even sciences at all. Whatever you have studied, you can become a cloud computing professional. Whether you are studying English language or Yoruba language or Igbo language or Hausa
Correct.
language, whatever, yes. As long as you know that you are passionate about learning and you are willing to learn, because it's a learning journey, right? And
Yeah.
then the part where he talked about getting to know the career path, getting your foot in the door and all of that. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Travis Academy brought this class together. That there are people who have had questions about this, like, what is cloud? How do I know this? Is this career really for me? And unlike Diego, that had online mentors that did not see him, you have Diego now on this call and even Favor to tell you about their experience and set you on the path, like, oh, this is how it is, this is how it is, and you can then now decide if it's for you or not, right? For me, I feel like a class like this that would make the guest speakers talk about their experience is as realistic as it can get, really. But then this class is not going to now be what is, it's not that after this class you become a cloud computing professional. But after this class, you would have a better understanding of what cloud is, and you can decide if it's for you or not. And at Strategic Academy, we actually have a bootcamp for cloud computing, and it's for AWS in particular. So we'll talk more about that later, but let's go on. Thank you so much once again, Diego. That was really helpful. So now I have a question for Blessing. I know a lot is going on in the chat box. Thank you so much, Favor. Blessing, I know that you are an automation software tester. What's the difference between automation software testing and manual software testing? Because somewhere is thinking, is it like a car that I need the clutch for the automation software testing or not? So what would you say the difference is really, or the differences or similarities?
Okay. I would say that the difference between manual testing and automation testing is, as a manual tester, you test the application manually. You interact with the application like a human being, just like the way you interact with your phone when when Samsung had a release and you discovered a bug. A manual tester, once there is a build, a manual tester will test the application manually as if they are using it, right? While for an automation tester would also interact with the application the same way a manual tester does, but now in a more detailed way and with more deeper scenarios and faster. I would even say it's it's just going to be faster, right? So a manual tester interacts with application manually using human knowledge and everything, while automation tester would interact with the application with a tool. Is also using the human knowledge, but in this scenario, the human knowledge is being implemented in a tool that runs and checks the application like a human being. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, so the manual is the one that deals with human knowledge, right?
Both are human knowledge.
Okay.
But while the automation part is that you already use your human knowledge to set those scenarios, to automate those things using scripts, right?
Oh.
So while it will just be doing it like that, but for the manual tester, the person gets to interact with it every time, again and again.
Oh, I see. Okay. So let me just reiterate what you just said, but in my own knowledge now. More like I have a calculator, and on the calculator I have already scripted it that anytime I do 2 + 2 + 2 + 2, it should give me 8. But that's the automation one. But the manual one is every time I have 2 + 2 + 2, I have to use my fingers to count 2 + 2 + 2 + 2. Right?
Yeah. But
So,
okay, let me
okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I think I should just use another scenario so we can all understand. For instance, there is an application that enables user to log in, right? A manual tester, for each time there is a build, a manual tester would take the application, interact with it, be logging in with different scenario. In this scenario, the user will be typing username, password, wrong username, right username, just be testing it with different scenario. While an automation tester would do the same thing, but right now the automation tester already wrote the script and everything. The tester would just sit down, run the script, and then the script will be interacting with the application on the tester's behalf. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it answers my question. But I mean, I still have some questions, but you answer my question. And I have the question because of some people that might be trying to think of what scripting is really. Is scripting coding, or is scripting like writing a series of instructions somewhere?
Okay, scripting is more like using code to write a series of instructions.
Okay, so now the instructions are going to be written somewhere, and it can actually test that software on behalf of the software tester, right?
Yes.
Wow. So does it mean that automation is easier than manual?
Automation is more complex than manual, basically. But then when the testing has been automated, it is way easier, because for a user to test an application, it might take a whole day for you to test an application and start running different scenarios and everything. But once the application has been automated, it can take 30 minutes max, you're done. Sometimes it even take more than a day to test an application manually. But once the script is has been written, it takes few minutes. It takes minutes to, let's say, max 1 hour, depending on the number of depending on the size of the application and everything. So automation testing is not easy in the beginning, but in the long run it releases stress. Manual testing is easy, but in the long run it's stressful.
Okay, I think you make sense now. So must someone learn manual before learning automation?
No, you don't have to learn manual testing before you become an automation tester. But while you don't have to learn manual testing, it is important that you know how to interact with an application manually before you think of automating it, because you have to understand what you want to. You have to understand the application, and you have to understand the application before thinking of automating it. So testing the application manually would enable you have a feel of the application. You get to understand the application better before thinking of automating it. So yes, you have to be, not compulsory for you to be a manual tester, but you have to, it's just like intertwined. You have to test the application manually at first, at least interact with it, know what you want to automate before automating it, basically. But it's not compulsory.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not compulsory.
Okay, because personally, I've come across like some job posts personally that would say cloud. I'm sorry, I said cloud software tester, manual and automation like needed. So that's why I'm wondering that, oh, is it that manual is before automation, or one can actually be each of them individually? But I think you already explained that manual makes it easier, but you don't have to like be a manual tester really.
Yeah.
Someone is saying, is penetration tester and automation tester the same?
No. Penetration tester is more like a security tester stuff. So there are security engineers that test an application. They want to check the application for threats and the like. So those are security people. They are the ones that run penetration test and all other security checks. Automation test is just like is more like user interacting with the application, ensure that the system is working as expected, is returning the right error message. For instance, if you log in with invalid username and password, and then you are not seeing Java lang, whatever, the user will just be lost and be like, what's happening? So automation tester is more like testing the application to see if the application is usable for the user, it is user friendly, it is working as expected based on different scenarios and under different conditions. While those that does penetration testing are those that check for security checks, more like preventing hackers from like invading into the system and stuff.
Okay, I hope Kunle got that, because Kunle was the one that asked the question. All right, thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you for answering that. If you have questions about Blessing's answer, please, you can post it on the chat box, or you can raise your hand and I'll take turns. So I think I want to answer questions now for the next maybe 5 minutes to be sure that people are coming along. So I'm going to go into the chat box now because I don't see. Oh, someone's hand is raised. Ayobami. Ayobami, do you want to speak? You can unmute yourself now to speak. Ayobami Isaac. Okay, I don't think so. Ayobami is no longer ready. Another person I'm seeing is, I don't want to murder or butcher this name, Udointian. Okay, Udosu is not speaking. So, okay, I'm just going to have
Okay, I think there's a question here.
Okay. Okay,
So
what's the question?
What's the difference between automation testing and user experience person? Okay. A user experience person is more like a designer that designs the application to make it like, for instance, when you enter some websites, the way you see the application, you just want to know what they do because the colors and everything is just enticing. You feel comfortable. And then you enter some website, you are not, everything just looks somehow, and then you don't just want to, you just look at it at a glance and leave. So a user experience makes sure that it's more like they bring their ideas together to make sure that any user that wants to interact with the application would even, for instance, I have a website that sells rice, beans, and probably you just went to my website to check for rice. But then, because when you get to the application, to the website, the whole thing looks good, you are just more comfortable to check other things that I do. So that's what a user experience. You just make sure that the user experience is good. They are more like a designer, so to say, while an automation tester is someone that tests the application. I hope this makes sense. Falagi.
Okay, yeah, and I think I also get that, understand that explanation, because there are actually websites that are really not nice when you look at them. So yeah, Faleye. Faleye, bless. Faleye, yeah, I hope Faleye got that. Okay, I'm going to, okay, now Blessing, I want to ask you a question again, and this is just for reiteration's sake, which is because you also mentioned again the second time that you were speaking that when someone has knowledge for manual, that it is good to know how manual works to be an automation tester, but you don't have to be a manual tester. Which is why I'm also asking again that, will someone do well learning just automation and not having like detailed knowledge about manual testing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
someone would do well. It's just the thing is, while you are even automating the software, right? You get to also, whether you like it or not, you get to also interact with the application manually. So yes, you will do well. It's just better when you just, I think almost everybody know how to even test an application manually, if you would ask me. Not everybody, but then since you are using a phone, you have a system or any other device, and then you can interact with it. So that gives you enough knowledge to be able to like automate, basically.
Okay. So it's like car. It's only old people that be like, some old people will say, oh, you need to learn manual driving before you learn automatic, but that's really not it. So that means it's like a car then. So thank you so much for that. Now I'm going to take one more question. I will go on for now. Someone is saying, what certification? Okay, I think Favor has answered that. Okay, if Unaya is saying, what programming language will be used to test automation testing in this course? Blessing.
Okay, yeah. So basically, we'll be using JavaScript to test.
Okay.
And then there's another question that says, can someone learn automation without knowing anything in programming? Yes. But then during the course, you have to like know programming, because it's more like you can't automate without programming. So, but then if you have zero knowledge in coding, you can learn automation.
Okay. Thank you so much. So now that's it. So I'm going to be continuing with my own series of questions.
Okay,
And
sorry. There's another question that says, does all testing have different tools, like tools needed to test load testing different from tools? Okay. Well, when you want to, all this testing that this person
already even knows all the testing like this.
we have load testing, we have test stress, everything they are just nested under performance testing, and they are like, there's a tool that does that. So the tool is going to test the load, test stress it, just like I said, test 1,000 user, just stretch it. You can even put 1 million user on the application and then see how it behaves, see the response time and everything. So there's a performance testing tool that does all this load, stress, and spike testing and the likes.
Okay, I hope Rachel got that. Thank you for that. Oh, she says thank you already. Okay, nice. Okay, now I'm going to be asking Favor the next question. Favor, thank you. You're doing a great job in the comment section. Thank you for manning the gates of the comments. So
you pay me.
I'll pay you, don't worry. It's just that if they compare my salary to you, tech person, like I don't know, maybe you understand, but let's leave it at that. So For Favor now, someone is saying, okay, no, let me start with this. Diego answered the question and said there are different roles in cloud computing and some are more technical than the other. So I want you to tell us, Favor, from your experience, what are the roles or branches that are in cloud computing, and what are the requirements for each branch? Which one require more technicality? Which one requires less technicality? Which one are you in? And yeah. Did you get my question?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So the number of rows are a lot. If I want to concentrate on listing the number of rows, we might not live here today again. But I'll just mention a few, right? I would talk about the ones that are very technical and the ones that are not as technical, right? So if we're talking about roles that are very technical, we're talking about roles like cloud engineer, cloud implementations engineer, like a DevOps engineer, and the likes, right? A site reliability engineer. What all of these roles do, they will typically be the technical hands-on person operating the cloud environment, right? They will manage the cloud infrastructure, they will do deployments on the cloud, they would do some setups on the cloud, they will configure things on the cloud. They are essentially the people that make all of your websites to be up, all of your applications to be up, and make sure that they are running 24/7, right? So those are the real heroes of the cloud. They are available to make sure that whatever configuration your website needs, whatever sort of scaling, they're the ones that make sure that if today your website was created for 10 people, right? But if all of a sudden your business booms and 1,000 or 1 million people are coming to your website, right? It's the cloud engineers and the DevOps engineers and the likes that will make sure that when those 1 million people visit your website does not crash, right? They're the ones that make sure that your website is always available. Now, for the less technical roles, we have things like solutions architects, we have things like pre-sales architects, we have things like FinOps analysts and the like. So for solutions architects or anything around pre-sales or technical sales, I believe Diego mentioned something about it, right? So this is adjacent to a sales role, right? We have people that are in sales, but they are cloud related. But this one is like one leg into technical and one leg into sales, because what these people will be doing is talking to customers to understand the requirements of the cloud and design the cloud infrastructure, design their cloud resources based on their requirements, right? So these kind of people work for the major cloud companies. They also work for consulting companies. They also work for cloud providers, right? They speak to customers, they speak to companies, they speak to anybody that has a requirement on the cloud to understand what that requirement is and to design for that requirement, right? Then another role that I think is interesting that day by day has been becoming more popular. In fact, there's a new certification that was just created for it, is the FinOps analyst, right? And you can think of this as the accounting person for cloud or the economics person for cloud. And what do? They make sure that whatever you're spending on the cloud is optimized. They handle the account spending for the cloud for an organization, right? They do reports, they do spreadsheets, they calculate forecast and the likes, anything that is accounting related or economics related, except this time they are doing it with respect to cloud. So this means they're combining knowledge of cloud and knowledge of finance or business or economics or accounting, as you may call it. So those are just a couple of roles, right? There are a lot more, definitely, but I believe those ones I've mentioned should give you an idea and should also let you see that there is almost no role you cannot do in the cloud, right? It just depends on what your interest is and what you're looking to do. So, thank you.
Favor, wait. If I get this question that I want to, it's me that I want to ask the question, but I'll answer it myself. If I get it, you will give me half of your salary. And the question is, FinOps means financial operations, right?
Yes, you got it.
I'm too good. Thank you. So someone is asking you, Favor, that which of the roles has easier routes to entry-level jobs? Number one. Number two, what are the differences between cloud engineer and DevOps engineer? Funny how I intended to ask about difference between cloud engineer and DevOps engineer, but the person already asked, so shoot us.
Okay, so as regards entry level, majority of these roles there's entry level parts for these roles, right? It just depends on the company. Majority of them, either solutions architect, pre-sales, site reliability engineer, DevOps. In fact, just yesterday I was casually scrolling and I saw someone hiring an entry level for site reliability engineer, right? Almost all of these roles, right, there are entry level pathways for them. So you can literally join as an entry level for any of those roles. Then the difference between a cloud engineer and a DevOps engineer. So before I even answer this, there's one thing I want to make clear, right? Cloud engineer is because cloud engineer is encompassing. Sometimes they use it to describe any role in cloud, right? So you can be a solutions architect or a DevOps engineer or FinOps that I already mentioned, right? And you can still use cloud engineer as a general role, right? And also, you should know that different companies have different names that they call different roles, right? But if we are speaking to the textbook definition, right? A cloud engineer is someone that operates the cloud environment, right? They help you to deploy resources in the cloud. They help you to ensure that your cloud resources are running as they should and the likes. While a DevOps engineer is essentially the go-to. A DevOps engineer is the person that stands in between the software engineer or the software developers and the operations engineer, right? They make sure that when your developers have created the code, they've written the code for your software, for your website, for your application, the DevOps engineer will pick up that code and deploy it and make sure that it is running optimally and make sure that the software that you are deploying is being monitored before handing over to operations. So that DevOps just means development operations, right? Usually, before the advent of cloud, we only had software developers and we have operation engineers, right? But because of the advent of cloud, a DevOps engineer is someone that merges those two roles together and acts as like the middleman between the software developers and the operations engineers. So I think I didn't mention what an operations engineer does. So while your software developer writes code and writes code for your website, once your website is deployed, your operations engineer is the person that ensures that your website is running day to day. Like the name says, operations, right? They handle day-to-day operations for your applications, for your software, for your services and the likes, right? But a DevOps engineer is slowly taking over that operation engineer roles. Today, you will not see a lot of operation engineer roles. You rather see support and DevOps engineers. So, and it's all because of the advent of cloud. So, I hope I've been able to answer your questions, Benjamin.
Thank you so much, Favor. That was also detailed. Okay, Benjamin says yes, so you did justice. Thank you. So now my next question goes to Blessing, and I'm going to be asking Blessing this question. I want to ask you how. Okay, let me ask first, Blessing. How did you find yourself in software testing? What was your journey like to becoming a software tester? Did you get a vision or did you study online, or how did you find yourself in this career path?
Okay, how I found myself in software testing. Yeah, I studied computer science, and then after school, I was kind of looking for, when you do computer science, it's more like you do the different tech stack in just one course, and then after school, you want to know your specialty, whether to be a cloud engineer, to be a network engineer. So after school, I started by being like a back-end engineer, but then it wasn't interesting to me basically. So then I just thought of looking up, like searching for other stack. Then I came across, let me say, I stumbled or I saw the vision of software testing, and then I decided to give it a try. I started by testing manually, and then after that I started testing using automation, and then with my background in computer science, it makes it easier and interesting for me, and then I just love it, and yeah, that got me to where I am today. So
Wow.
that's just the journey in a short sentence.
That's nice. Favor already he's doing justice for himself in the comments. Looks like it's only people that don't study computer science. Computer science alumni. But then wait, that's even true. Favor, what did you study in school?
So I studied mechanical engineering.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I think you once told me really. Yeah. So engineer, all these engineer people, anyway, from computer engineer to cloud engineer, you're still engineering. So you're still on the path. And then for it's only Blessing Zone that is not the same because Diego's on to is from computer science to computing. But Blessing Zone is from computer science to software. I don't know. But that's still nice, anyways. That's nice. Okay, thank you, Blessing. Now to my next question, Blessing, which makes me say that what do you advise about self-learning and bootcamp training for software testing? I know that there's something called self-learning. There are people that self-learn, like even when it comes to hands-on skills like makeup, all of that, graphics, there are people that self-learn. Same way in tech, I've seen people that really self-learn. And there are people that attend bootcamp trainings like the one we do at Travel Tech Academy. Now, what would you say from your experience is the difference between both, and which would you advise anyway?
Okay, so I'll start with self-learning, right? Self-learning is kind of, I would say it is flexible, right? And then it is self-paced. What I mean by it is self-paced is you can decide to become a software automation engineer in 2 years and probably 1 year, right? So it's more like it requires discipline and motivation. Basically, if you are not disciplined and fully motivated, hungry for knowledge, and you know this thing I want to do it, then self-learning might be a bit challenging for you. And then for bootcamp training, I would say bootcamp training is better because you get to see people of like-minded, you have colleagues, you have peers, and people to interact with. You often have hands-on projects to work with. You have timelines. There is opportunity for mentorship amongst other benefits. So when it now comes to the last question, which says which one do I prefer? I think this is just based on individual. But to me, I would say that bootcamp training is much better. But it now depends on your personality and which one you think works best for you. So yeah, that's it.
I like the analogy, really. The fact that there are even peers and people makes it easier for me. So I think it was very recently that I discovered something about myself. It was even one of my friends that pointed it out to me that I'm more of a person that attends live classes than someone that takes recorded courses. And really, I've taken a number of recorded courses and certification, but I'm taking one presently and I'm like, and then the person now pointed it out that, see, just do boot camp. All this one that you're stressing yourself, just do boot camp. And when I tried it, I was like, oh yes, I see where the problem has been. So thank you so much for that, Blessing. But I will just add this to what Blessing said. Whether you are doing boot camp training or you are doing just self-learning, at the end of the day, both still require self-learning, just on different frequencies. So even if you're enrolling on, a boot camp, rather, don't just say whatever they teach you, that's the end, and until the next class. So you still also have to be hungry, like Diego mentioned. You also have to be hungry. You also have to like find resources that can aid you. But the bootcamp learning is advantageous because number one, there is a sequential curriculum you can follow. So you're not just taking different resources like today, what is software testing? Tomorrow, branches in software testing. Next tomorrow, Selenium. And maybe there's supposed to be a sequence on what makes the learning easier for you. Secondly, in bootcamp, like Blessing said, there are people that you can rub minds with, people that makes you feel like you're not alone on this journey. Thirdly, in bootcamp training, there's a time frame allotted. So you can tell yourself, oh, in the next 4 months, I would be at social level and in software testing. But self-learning, you might not really pay attention, and because you have a job, you're married, you have church work or mosque work or whatever you're doing, you might just continue like, today I'll take this, I'll watch this video, and until the next month before you have time. Lastly, in bootcamp training, there's like an opportunity for you to ask questions with the live trainer. So in self-learning, will you go to YouTube to ask on YouTube comments, you might even drop a comment, and in the next 3 months, the person does not open the channel, right? So I think for me, those are my observations from my personal experience about bootcamp training, and I'm glad that Travel Academy offers bootcamp training to people that are interested in career paths like this software testing. So thank you for that again, Blessing. Now Rachel is in the comment again to Blessing. She's saying to
I saw it.
Mrs.
I just wanted to respond.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, Rachel, I think this is just individual thing also. Like we have some people in tech that have different jobs, up to 4 or 5 jobs, depending on your capacity. So some people have one, if that is the only thing they can manage, some 2. I know someone that has 3 jobs. So depending on your capacity and how you think you can manage both jobs without one suffering from the other. So that's the answer to that. Also, I saw another question that says, how you say manual and automation tester, which one is better? Well, both are good in their own space, in their own corridor, right? But recently there is more job for automation tester, and then automation testers get more pay than manual tester, basically. But manual testing, automation testing, both of them have their own space, and you can be a manual tester and then you thrive in your part. You can be an automation tester and you thrive in your part. But bear in mind that recently, more companies tend to look for more automation tester, and then automation tester gets more pay, yeah, on the average than manual tester. Thank you.
Listen, thank you. I hope Rachel got that, and the other person too. I hope you got that. So now let's talk money, money, money. I'm going to be asking Diego. Diego, now. Oh, before I talk about money, let me ask Diego this question, and it has been on my mind for a while now. Now, when it comes to cloud computing, Diego, what would you say about certification? Do you think now, for people that self-learned in cloud computing, do you think not having a certification is a big deal while trying to get a job? So let's say I go to YouTube and I self-learn, or I go to Google, watch a lot of videos, and I really have a grasp of what cloud computing is. I can work on projects. I don't know how you guys projects are, but you understand what I'm saying. And I'm really good. I can take up tasks and all of that, but I do not have any certification. What would you say about that? Do you think a lack of certification is a factor that makes it hard for people to get jobs on this field?
Okay. All right. Got it. So I'll start by, asking the importance of certifications, right? What do we think, or why do we think certifications are important, right? And I would say, first of all, to validate your skills, right? You're starting out a career, right? And you need to, of course, first of all, there's competition, right? So you need to prove to your potential employer that you've taken some kind of training, right? Or you've learned you actually learned this technology, right? So if you self-learn, no certification attached to it, you might be having a hard time doing that, right? So you need to actually have a certification, something that shows that I've learned this thing. I attended a class, I attended a boot camp, I did some projects, I did some learnings. Basically, I dedicated time to actually learn this, not just reading online or something, right? I actually learned this from someone, from a professional. There has to be some kind of proof, because first of all, that helps you to validate your skills. Secondly, it gives you a competitive advantage over, other applicants to the same role, right? So yeah, I think certifications, to validate your skills basically is going to help actually with getting the job in cloud.
Okay.
Right,
So
yeah.
more like, yeah, so more like it's just certification is good for validating what you know. And
Correct.
yeah, that makes sense. Because even me, I will be skeptical if I ask somebody, "Oh, are you a cloud engineer?" I say, "Ah, yes, I'm a cloud engineer." So how will you back it up? And they say, "Oh no, for the past 2 years I've been on YouTube."
Yeah, so I mean, what even happens is, by the time you say you're a cloud engineer, or like you've learned it and all that, and then
Mm,
you have a certificate to show for it, for your learning, right? In
mm,
the recruiter's mind, he already knows that, okay, you had a structured learning path.
mm,
You learned from an expert,
mm,
so you were mentored, you know, and if there's an issue tomorrow while carrying out your activities, you know how to troubleshoot that issue. It's
mm,
way different than when you're learning on your own. There's no one to ask questions. You didn't really do any real life projects. It's way different from that. So already in the interviewer's mind, he now knows that, okay, this certification comes from a learning, and that learning would have involved projects, mentorship, and all of that. So yeah, it's a really good thing to have when you are trying to get a job, basically.
mm. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Now, which brings me to my second question, the initial question I wanted to ask, which
Mhm.
is the idea of LinkedIn
Okay.
for cloud computing. What would you say from your experience about LinkedIn when it comes to cloud computing jobs? Do you think LinkedIn is dead or like is old? Um, and talking about getting jobs for people in cloud, is LinkedIn still highly effective?
Okay. I'll speak from experience, like you just said. LinkedIn is a large network, right? And of course, it's actually currently overly promotional. Everyone is coming there to drop their skills, drop their certifications, drop their learnings, their trainings, and all that, right? Which makes it very competitive to actually get something from LinkedIn. But notwithstanding, it is not dead. In your words, it's not dead for cloud jobs, right? There are usually job postings there. One thing you need to do first of all is optimize your profile, right? Your learnings, your certification, the things you learned, the projects you did while undergoing that learning. Put them out there. Give yourself a chance, right? Of course, I know that LinkedIn is overly promotional, but when you bring out these things out there, it gives you a chance to be seen by potential employers, right? Because of course, LinkedIn, there's job postings and all of that. Just put yourself out there, optimize your profile, interact with discussions on LinkedIn, right, and all that. And I think, of course, you'd be in a better position to actually land a job from there. Because these recruiters, most times, what they do, they have keywords they search for, right? So even after going through the boot camp, right, you optimize your profile with what you've learned, the projects you've undergone during your training, and then you interact with communities in LinkedIn, right? By the time these recruiters search with keywords, your profile will pop up. And now when your profile pops up, and then they see evidence of some learning, they see your interactions, they see sample projects you've done, you know, it gives you, a much better chance of being contacted, right? And yeah, so LinkedIn is not dead for cloud jobs. To be honest, it's not.
Mm. What tip would you give for people to optimize their LinkedIn profiles?
Okay. Yeah, like I just said, I mentioned, first of all, you need to know what you are trying to apply for. You're trying to apply to be a cloud engineer. You need to know about it. You need to know it, right? You need to know it very much. And then when you know it, and then that's by attending a training, right? You know it, and then you have a certification to prove to show for that, right? First of all, upload that certification, really upload it there, right? Talk about that certification, talk about the learnings, talk about the projects, in your profile. I mean, LinkedIn has several would I say sections for all this. There's a section for projects, section for certifications, where you can even do storytelling, about certification and your learnings and everything, right? Put them out there. And then there are keywords relating to each to each discipline, basically. So for cloud, there are keywords. And you get to learn these keywords when you interact with the professional. When you know in the course of your learning, you learn these keywords, right? So you put these keywords out there in your description, the things you learned and all that. And by the time these recruiters are, searching with these keywords, the profile will pop up automatically. And I'm saying this from experience, really. It's a pop-up, and then you'll be contacted. So basically, put your certifications, post about your learnings, what you learned, how you learned them, duration, and even the projects you did while learning that, and then use keywords. Basically, that's basically it.
Thank you so much, Diego. I mean, I like that part of keywords because I've personally seen people's profiles where they just write title. For example, they just write communications professional, and there's nothing else that tells us that they're communication specialist. And I'm like, how do you want us to believe that you're really this? So the same way you're a cloud person, on your LinkedIn bio, make it clear, make it evident that once they come to your profile, even if you're not a regular poster like me, you don't post all the time, but I mean, they could tell that, oh, you're seasoned in what you do. And for just mentioning sake, you don't have to put that you are a what's this word? There's this word that people write, beginner cloud professional or junior cloud professional. I don't think it's needed. I mean, when you get to the interview stage, the interviewer will definitely see your experience. So you don't have to now shortchange yourself, right, and start writing beginner or whatever on your profile. So that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Diego. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Blessing, I would like to ask Blessing about software testing. In your professional journey as a software tester for the past 4 years, really, what would you say are the mistakes and hurdles that you have faced in your career journey in landing jobs? What are the mistakes you think you made them or you learned along the line, like, I shouldn't have done this or I should have done this? Where are the places you think are like notable sites to get jobs for software testing from your experience, right? Not just generally. And how would you advise people to avoid certain mistakes you made? Did you get the question?
Yeah, I think you asked 2 questions. The first
Yes.
one, the mistakes I've made. The second one, where I think they will get job.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the major, would I call it mistake? I would just say common orders, just like you said, not like a mistake. It's more like communication issues because really, the engineers, so like developers and QA are not friends because as a QA professional, your job is to look for bug and then developers see that as a threat. So sometimes QA engineers, myself and developers, we do have like back and forth. That's like communication issues. Sometimes I'm trying to like explain the bug I found and then how I got it, and then because the engineer is closed-minded, he does not believe something is wrong with his code and stuff like that, and then there are back and forth. So that's one major issues. And another issue is flaky tests. When we talk about flaky tests, there are some tests that when you automate it this time, it's going to pass. The next time when you run the test, rather, when you run the test the first time, it's going to pass. When you run it the second time, it might not pass due to some reasons, probably because of the data that you used to run the test, or probably at the moment when you were testing it, there was network issues or something. So they kind of, because after you run your check, when you run your test using automation tool, there's a report. And then if the report is saying that this particular thing failed, that means there's a bug here. And then you just go ahead and give it to developers. Those ones that their blood is hot. They don't want to like hear that they have issues in their code. And then when they now later check, they see that it's not really an issue. It's probably because of 1 or 2 issues while you're testing, right? So most times when I run my automation check and then there are issues, sometimes I used to tell the test to run it 3 times, do 2 times. So I will do my statistics. The first 2 tests, this one passed, you just failed once. So if it's passing the first 2 times and it failed once, this particular scenario, then probably is not an issue with the code itself. Probably sometimes we have to like check manually. So those are the major 2 issues: flaky test and communication issues. Those are one of the big orders that I've actually encountered during my experience as a software tester. The next question is talking about, forgotten.
Yeah, where people can get jobs as a software
Oh,
tester.
okay. Sorry. Where people can get, well, as a software tester, you can get your job anywhere. LinkedIn, Indeed. We have so many job websites. So as much as possible, there are openings, just push your CV out there. You don't know which one will work for you. So there's no like, it's not like there's a particular space where they say, okay, this is where you get your job as a software tester. It's just any job website, and probably by also talking to people, interact with people, let people know what you do. You can talk with people in your family. You can get your job anywhere basically. So there's no fixed place where you can get a job as a software automation tester. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blessing. Talking about communication hurdle, I mean, I don't even think there's anybody that can avoid communication and be successful in a career path, really, because communication is very, very, very important. And that's why you should respect me, because I'm a communications professional. As a brand manager, I communicate things to you guys. So, but then communication is really important. Communication is really important. Thank you, Blessing. So now, I'm going to take a question because I see a hand up. Olumide, you can unmute yourself and ask a question. Olumide. Okay. Let me see if there's any other hand up. None. Okay.
Hello, can you?
Yes, you're audible. Go ahead.
Okay, the question I want to ask is this: what is the kind of relationship that exists between a cybersecurity analyst and a cloud engineer? Because I feel like during some of my own self-learning and all this, I come across cloud computing, cybersecurity. In fact, I find these two mostly in the same sentences. So I feel like, what exactly is that relationship that exists between the cloud engineer and the cybersecurity analyst?
Okay, now I'm going to ask Favor this. Favor, what would you say is the similarity or difference between cloud computing and cybersecurity?
Okay, so cybersecurity, as you may be familiar with from the name, right? You can see security in the name, so you know what they basically do is to ensure there are no threats or to identify threats in a particular system, right? So cybersecurity engineers or analysts generally identify and protect your system from threats, right? Whether that is your website, whether that is your application, whether that is your servers, whether that is your storage, whatever sort of thing you have that is related to computers, that is related to IT, that is related to tech, right? Cybersecurity engineers ensure it is protected. Now, remember I mentioned that your websites, your applications, your storage, whatever it is, can be stored on the cloud, right? So before there was cloud, we had cybersecurity analysts, right? But when cloud came, cybersecurity analysts also needed to secure the cloud environment because everybody was moving from the previous way of doing things, right, to using cloud to deploy their services, using cloud for the applications and all. So cybersecurity engineers, the relationship they have with the cloud is they secure the cloud. They make sure that not just anybody has access to your cloud environment. They make sure that your cloud environment is protected from attacks, right? And everything that is security related in the cloud. In fact, sometimes you would see some roles called cloud security engineer, right? What those people do is essentially cybersecurity, except they are focusing on the cloud environment, right? So just like every other thing, right? Almost all the IT roles, you can link them to cloud, right? Cybersecurity engineer, if you are choosing to focus on security of the cloud, you call them a cloud security engineer, a cloud security analyst, or whatever you want to use, right? If you are a software developer, right, and you develop applications on the cloud, right, they will call that person a cloud developer, right? You can think of almost any IT role, right? If they are focusing on using the cloud services, a data analyst, for example, right? A data analyst can focus on using data analysis tools on the cloud because the cloud has several data analysis tools and databases and the likes. So I think I've made that clear, Olumide. Do you understand now the relationship between a cybersecurity analyst and cloud computing?
Yeah, so Olumide says thank you, Favor, already. So I guess Olumide got that correct. Thank you so much, Favor. Thank you for answering that question. Okay, now is there a question in the chat box that I missed? Let me see. Can someone without a computer background learn software testing? Okay, Blessing, that's to you.
Computer background, like you don't know how to use system at all?
No, like without studying computer science.
Oh, okay. Yes, of course. Anybody can actually do software testing. Yeah, even if you study theater and media arts, English, biology, whatever, you can actually be an automation software tester or probably a manual tester. So far you are something you have passion for, you're hungry for it, you want to do it, yes, you get it, and you do great in the space.
Okay. Bukola, I hope you saw that anybody can study software testing as long as you are passionate about it and you have hunger for it, you will thrive in it. And it's just because the guests I have today, many of them tilted towards either computer or engineering. I've had guests in time past. Different the last session we had on software testing, our guest studied, is it political science or something? And she's a software tester, really. So don't let Blessing and Diego's computer scare you. Don't mind them. They are computer gurus, but don't worry, we'll be fine. So now can you share the slide? Which slides? Connect me. Which slide did you see again? We did not use any slides here. Connect me. Are you sure you were here in this session? Don't worry, I forgive you. I forgive you. But then let me just go ahead and ask this question. Let me ask Diego this question. Let's talk about money, Diego. Let's talk about money. Really, there are people that after you and Favor have talked, people have said, okay, I think I would like cloud computing, but is it going to be worth it? Because I have a family to feed, I have bills to pay. So tell us, Diego, what is the earning potential for a cloud computing analyst or cloud professional? Now, Diego, don't judge. Sorry, I said judge. Don't dodge this question by saying, between. Give us money range so that we decide whether we are coming to your profession or not. I'm just joking. But give us money range in naira and in dollars, maybe, and tell us like this particular role, not all the roles you get, but like a cloud computing professional, someone that just like transitioned into the career and is good already, but is an entry level person. What are the like starting salary, and for someone that's like advanced, pretty much what's the salary range in naira and dollars? So Diego, don't worry, I'll not bill you. Don't come and be saying, because all of you that are making plenty money, you're not business scope for us. We are not accepting that.
God. So I've been laughing since you started.
Are you laughing at me or the question?
Yeah, yeah, the question. Yeah, Theophilus is also laughing now. So yeah, it's a funny one.
Theophilus already laughing too. He likes money.
So yeah, okay. So basically, right, when it comes to the money, right, that is being paid cloud engineers, right, I would say first of all, there are several things that determine, the range or the amount you're being paid as a cloud engineer. First of all, your experience, right? Experience. I'm sure that one explains itself already. Your experience, right? Then, secondly, you talk about the location. The location, right? The location also determines um what you get to earn as a cloud engineer, and then the kind of skills you have, and are you able to show that skill? Are you able to prove that you actually have that skill? Right? That also determines how much you earn, as well as the employer, really. So it's a very, very dicey question, to be honest. But the career of cloud computing or cloud engineering, as the case may be, is new tech. It still has lots and lots of potential, right? So I'm really finding it difficult to place a figure on this, really, because I'm not a recruiter, right? Rather,
Diego.
am I? Yeah, like I mean, yeah, for
Hmm.
real, for real. So the thing is, it varies based on experience, most likely, mostly, right, and location also, right? It varies on experience and location. An entry level cloud engineer in Nigeria and an entry level cloud engineer in the UK would earn very different salaries, right? Very different salaries. And also, a mid-level or an expert level cloud engineer in Nigeria and an entry-level cloud engineer in Nigeria would earn different salaries, right, based on experience, right? So really, I'm trying to like get a figure, but it's not really coming to me. But trust me, it's very competitive.
Yeah, Diego,
Very
tell us your
competitive
salary. But
because
don't tell us it's your salary. We'll not notice. Don't worry.
I mean, you already said it now. So how would I say a figure right now?
I can help him out.
Yes,
Hey,
yes,
hey,
please
help
help me
us.
out.
Diego, don't worry. I don't want to face like that. I will still view you. Don't want to say me. I don't view
Yes,
you.
favor, please help me out.
Hey, boy, help us.
Yeah.
Okay, so from what Diego said, of course, there are many factors, right? And also the company you're working in is also a factor, apart from the things Diego mentioned. But generally, as an entry-level cloud engineer, whether you're a solutions architect or whatever role, I wouldn't expect anything less than around 250, and it could be as high as 500 or even more than that as an entry-level cloud engineer. And of course, as you gain experience, right, and as you progress in your career, the ceiling can get exponentially high too, right? So I would say for okay, you said what was the range of your first pay? Yeah, it's around that, around 250 to even as high as 500, depending on where you land, or even more than that. So Revi, I think I've answered your question.
Thank you, Favor. How about outside Nigeria, Favor?
Outside Nigeria
No, that
is
one is.
very, that one is another talk because
Did I hear Diego's voice now? Because he
Yeah,
likes
yeah.
outside Nigeria money. Hey,
No, no,
okay, I
no, that one
see.
is not. Like I said, that one is like, the gap is quite, it's
Hmm.
quite, you can get as much as 5K, and I'm not in naira, right? Not in naira,
Who will collect 5K with
5K
Naira after all the
a
review?
month. As much as 5K a month, for entry level actually, right?
No
Yeah.
wonder you did not want to talk. Thank God for Favor. Thank you so much for Diego and Favor. Your input was Revi was saying the range of your first pay. Revi wants to add evidence, concrete evidence. Okay, thank you so much, guys. That was really helpful. And yeah, I was going to ask for cloud computing. Apart from getting certification from academies like Travel Tech Academy, are there professional certification for cloud computing? Let me ask Favor this.
yes, AWS has professional certifications for different levels, right? They have the practitioner level, they have the associate level, and they have the professional level, right? So, the Travel Tech course was actually created after the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, even though it is more robust and has more knowledge, but you can take the Travel Tech course for cloud computing and comfortably write and pass the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. David, this is your question. I've already answered it before. Cloud computing and DevOps. So I've answered your question before. Now let me ask Blessing. Blessing, money matter. Blessing, don't do what Diego did. Don't be saying, let us know like Revi said, what's the range of your first pay in cloud? I'm just joking. You don't have to say it's your first pay, but just give us an idea of what an entry-level software tester, automation software tester would earn, and someone who is like also like a pro already. Like, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Entry level role, well, it depends on various factors, like the company you're working for, and your skills also really matters. So for entry level role, also another factor that will determine your salary is how much you can negotiate, right? Some companies in fact, I see some ridiculous pay about software. Sometimes I see 3 to 4 years experience, 350K. And then you see some jobs 1 million and above naira. So yeah, there is no fixed value. One, know your worth. Two, yeah, the first factor is know your worth. The second factor is your skills. What's the skills you have. So but then the round figure of entry level role should be around 200. Yeah, at least 200. If you don't have any industry experience, yeah, I think 200 is still like a good start for. I'm not saying that's the amount me I handle. When I started, it's not this present time, right? So time change, and then yeah. So, but I think for now, 200 still fly if you have experience in automation testing. Like if you're really good, you can do something. Yeah. And then for experienced people, you can earn as much as 1 million, 1.1, 1.5, depending on the company. People even pay more than 2 million in Nigeria for automation tester, for lead software tester, senior software tester. And then for international pay, it also depends on, you can see $1K, you can see 2, 3, 5, $10,000, depending on the company, your year of experience, and then so many other factors. And then for entry level, I said 200K is not bad, but then I saw one job on Indeed, I think was not last week. I was seeing something like 100K to 150K. I'm like, in this Nigeria economy, automation tester, they are even saying 3 to 4 years experience, you get.
Some HR people are bad, they're wicked.
Yeah. So it depends. It depends on so many factors, but then that's just the highlight of it.
That 100 to 150K job, I hope they were not asking for years of experience.
It's there now.
Nice one. They will see you.
Some will stay fully on site. They still want to see
okay.
you. So you spend all your money on transport. So it depends. Depends on what you want, your words, what you want. So yeah. And then if you're just someone that just want to start somewhere, I don't know, you can just take up.
That was why I asked about years of experience, because really I've heard we had a guest speaker, I think 2 months ago, and the person was talking on what's this course? Is it DevOps? No, not DevOps. I'm trying to remember the course now. I've forgotten. But then the person was telling us about how he knew someone who got a job offer. The person was working in the bank, collecting maybe 70K. I can't remember precisely. And then from 70K, the person now got an offer in a tech company to do that career path, and it was 50K or so. And the person was like, how will I even leave the money I'm already earning to collect 50K? And he now told the person that this is tech. Number one, just go to that company and even get the experience first. And you can leave in a few months, and you will see a better offer because you already have the work experience. And the person did that. And I think after 6 months or so, I can't remember particularly, but the person now got another job of maybe 120K. They now got of 250K, and now the person earns over 450K. Right? So there's also that, and I'll tell anybody here, if you are like entry level, maybe you just finished your boot camp or whatever, if you get such opportunity, don't just say, no, I will wait for the one person said that
some people do volunteering. Some people do volunteering, internship. Yeah, those are the things that you can consider. just like have something in your CV, not to be idle, and just have something doing, basically.
That's right. So don't just hold everything to yourself until you now see that job of 500K. You might have a starting point, but at the same time, there are also companies that start really robust, really.
Yeah.
And Blessing said something too that made a lot of sense when she said, "Know your worth." I think we need to emphasize this to people again, because sometimes a company might have a job range maybe 50 to 400K, but they won't tell you.
How would I leave this government?
I just muted someone. Oluwatosin, please be mindful of your microphone. So, a company might say their job range or salary range is 250K to 400K, but when you come for the interview or something, they might not even tell you it's 250 to 400. They might just say, we are willing to offer you 250K. If you, number one, don't know how to bargain and you don't know your worth, you will say, okay, I'll take it, and you just take the 250. But not knowing that they have an extension of another extra 150K. So knowing your worth will determine how your carriage on your profile, which is your social profile, maybe LinkedIn, your resume, your cover letter. Knowing your worth will determine. Oluwatosin, I'm removing you from this call if you do not mute yourself, because I just muted you. Now, knowing your worth is another reason that would help you to answer the questions in a certain type of manner and market yourself well to the recruiter or the interviewer, that they will even know that if we don't accept this person, we're going to be missing a lot, right? So don't just expect your resume to just be everything. You also have to know your worth and know how to market yourself. And it also determines what you post online. There are some people that they are into tech. For example, you're looking for a job in maybe software testing or in cloud computing, and on your profile, they're writing something like, I'm on a Gary with a drink now, nothing day for us. I'm not saying this bad. Gary is good. I drink Gary, right? But you need to know how to market yourself. You want to now write, only Gary day for me like this, so, and you now get to the interview, you're now bargaining for 400K. They will remind you that Gary you won't buy. So that was on a lighter mode, but I'm also serious. Be mindful of what you post on your social profile, especially when you are currently searching for a job, right? So that matters too. Now, I'm going to say this for some people who are wondering what TravelTech Academy can offer, what our boot camps are about, and all of that. Now, we have boot camp training in different tech careers, talking about cybersecurity, cloud computing, software testing, both manual and automation. For cloud computing, we are specific about AWS because there are different cloud platforms. Now, I'm still going to ask one of our guest speakers to talk about cloud platforms, but let me just say this first. So we have data analytics, business analysis, product management, and what have you, a number of courses, right? But presently, we are admitting students for only cloud computing, software testing, and cybersecurity. Now, we had a session today, which this session is talking about software testing and cloud computing. And tomorrow we'll have another free session on this same link for cybersecurity. So if you are still on the journey of deciding on which to go for, you can also attend tomorrow's session. Now, our classes, when you attend our bootcamp and you register for our bootcamp, our classes are purely online. So there's no need to enter a bus or enter a cab to our venue. Everything are online. Just like we're on this Google Meet call, we use Google Meet for our classes. And we don't just do this. Now, during our classes, there are going to be slides. Your teacher can share their screen, your instructor can share their screen, and you can see what they are working on, the project and all of that. So it's practical. So don't think we'll just keep talking and talking in your classes. No, they are quite practical. But I've had students from different parts of the world, from USA, Canada, London, Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, a lot of places really, and it has been awesome all the way. On our social platforms, you can actually get a proof. We have over 13K followers on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're everywhere. I mean, literally on your faces every day, every time. So when you attend our classes, our bootcamp trainings, there are actually opportunities for replays available. So let's say you had to attend an Owambe or something one Saturday and you couldn't attend the class. Don't worry, there's an opportunity for replay. But then it's not that you have to miss all the classes and expect there to be a replay. I mean, what makes the difference for registering a live class and You could have just taken a course, really, but I mean, live class should be enjoyed. Also, our classes are only on Saturdays and Sundays because we know that many of our audience are people who are professionals. You probably have a job right now, or you're actually a manager somewhere else. You have a 9 to 5 job, probably. So we don't want to like put the burden of classes on you in the nights again. So our classes are just weekends only, fixed Saturdays and Sundays, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So you cannot come and meet us to shift the class for you. No, the classes are fixed. Our classes, after you enroll in our bootcamp, you get certification. But guess what? The certification is not for just everybody that pays money. No. So we're not collecting money for certification. Like, oh, once you just enroll at Travel Tech, you get certification. What guarantees you getting your certification is when you complete the project assigned to you during the course of the program. So there's going to be a final project that you're going to do, and certain projects. If you don't do your project, you don't attend classes, you now say, where's my certificate? I paid you money. No, we're not giving you the money because we don't want anybody to use our name to spoil themselves. And now they don't know anything because they did not attend classes, they did not watch replays. At the end of the day, they now say they want to get a job and they now say they have Travel Tech certification. No, we are building a brand, and I'm the brand manager, so I take it very seriously. So if you don't do your projects, you don't do your assignments, you might not get your certification. Now, after the bootcamp training, the bootcamp is 3 months of training. After the bootcamp training, both for software testing and cloud computing, there is access to another free mentorship for 3 months. And this is on Travel Tech. You're not paying for the mentorship, it's on us. So the mentorship is 3 months, and we have a model for it already. So for the first 4 weeks of the mentorship, you have access to classes. Your mentors are going to set classes for you again. In this mentorship, they're going to be teaching you how to develop your CV or your resume for your job in your career path. You know, when Diego was talking about LinkedIn building, your tutors, your mentors are going to be teaching you how to build your LinkedIn profile, how to make it optimized, job opportunities, how to present yourself for interviews, and all of that. Now, the remaining 8 weeks in the mentorship, there will not be fixed classes, but you have unlimited access to your mentors. Now, when I say unlimited access, please don't be messaging them at 3 a.m. in the night, you know, but you can ask them questions. And if there are people that can set up appointments with you, fine, but you have access to ask them questions. Oh, I have an interview coming up next week. Please, what do you think I should do? They can answer you. So that's extra 3 months aside the training you paid for, which is very nice. So I don't want you to think, after we finish the bootcamp at Travel Tech, they will just leave us. No, we will not leave you. We are not here to leave you alone. And at Travel Tech Academy, you actually have the opportunity to pay twice for our sessions. Now, if you are paying twice, you have to pay the first installment before your training starts, and the second installment exactly 1 month after your training starts. For those that are paying on installment, there's a little fee difference, but it's just little, and it still covers both training and mentorship too. So if you have any questions about our training at Travel Tech Academy, you can ask your questions in the chat box, and people from our company will be there to answer your question. And then Moyo already posted links to check our website. Now, if you check our website and the links, you will notice that we have sessions recorded on our website. For example, for cloud computing, you can see an example of what our cloud computing class looks like, and you can see an example. Oh, there are tutors. How do they even teach? Do they even know how to teach? This. You can answer your question. Don't worry, it's there. Even if you go to our Instagram page, you will see reviews of people that have joined our program. So we're not just telling you to come and pay your money to somewhere that you will not get value. And if you compare our prices to people or other bootcamp academies, you would understand that our prices are really, really affordable and reasonable, yet to give quality. On WhatsApp, you can access us, send us DMs, send us messages, and even give calls. We accept calls, and we also have a phone number, and it's already on this chat box. So somebody said already paid in full. You know, it does not affect now. It does not affect. If you're paying in full, like I said, if you're paying on installment, there's a little fee difference. So you're paying in full, it's fine too. So it does not affect. Korede, I hope that you get all the value you want from the class. You already paid in full. So now, for these two career paths, for both cloud computing, AWS, and software testing, registration ends on Wednesday, coming week, on Wednesday. So if you want to be a part of this new set we are admitting for, please register before Wednesday night. And because sometimes people message us, hey, I want to register at the end time, and it might not really work. might not really work because we have to do orientation and all of that for you. We have to onboard you and all of that. So register before Wednesday night. The classes start on Saturday, this coming Saturday, and only those that register will be allowed. Don't show up on Saturday. I want to join. Anyway, you don't even have access to join. And someone is saying, can we do 2 courses at once? Moyo, thank you. Moyo, I said we don't advise that. 2 courses. See, this is not just taking a course. Don't see it as a course. It's a new career path. So it's just like asking, can I go to school to study both medicine and chemistry together? Anyway, I once had a friend that did something like that. Anyway, that person is just a different kind of person, but don't do that, please. It's 2 different career paths. You need to focus on one to grow in it, right? If you now finish one and decide that you want to do another one, yes, you can now decide. So I just said this Richmond. If you go to our website, there are links. Moyo, please post a link of the AWS class that they can watch as an example. We have links that you can watch how our classes are to see what our classes are and how we teach. Yes. So Moyo just posted an example of our QA class, and she will post the AWS one too. So the QA one is not clickable. Moyo.
People should sweep the ass. People should come and sweep the ass. Devina.
Maybe there's a mistake there. Rudolph, I just muted you. If you unmute yourself again, I'll remove you, please. So that's that. Now, I want to ask someone a question now, which is Diego, and I'm going to ask Diego this question based on what I mentioned earlier about the we're going to be we're rounding off already, and we're going to be leaving soon, but I just want to say this for clarity's sake. Now, for cloud platforms, Diego, what's the difference between Azure, AWS? Because I know there are a number of cloud platforms. What are really the differences? Are there differences really?
Okay, so the difference is just the way the UI is, the way the services are being or the resources are being created or provisioned, right? Those are just the difference. So all of them, they all ride on the concept of cloud computing, of course. So they all offer the same kind of services, basically, right? But then AWS has much more services than the other cloud platforms, right? AWS is a market leader. It has a lot more services than other cloud platforms, actually, right? It has a mature platform. It's built for innovation, basically. There's almost nothing in general IT that you're looking for that you not find in AWS, right? And then we also have Azure, then we have Google Cloud. So basically, they all have the same general concept of cloud. They all offer servers over the internet. They all offer storage, networking, database, and all of that, right? The only difference right now is just the volume of services or the range of services that that they offer. Like I said, AWS has the widest range of services, making it a versatile choice, for your deployments. So yeah.
I see. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and just to mention, at TribalTech Academy, we are offering AWS specifically, and Diego already said AWS is a market leader. So you want to be part of the market leading team, right? So don't forget, registration ends on Wednesday, and we have come to the end of today's session. I hope you got value. You can even say you not get value because blessing, Diego, favor, 3 powerhouses, and you want to say no, you got value. You definitely got value. See, people are already clapping. Thank you so much. My laptop. This name is funny though, but thank you. Olushola, thank you. Theophilus, thank you. Thank you for all the emojis. Thank you for all the love and all of that. Thank you. Follow us on our social platforms to know more about our programs. And also, Busari, thank you. Our community link, Moyo, please post the community link. The recording of this class will be sent to the community link. If you are on our community, you also get information. There are times that we get job opportunities and we send there. And if you enroll for our programs, you get access to. So there are companies that reach out to us certain times, like, hey, we need people, we need this. We first give it to people that are our own. So if you're on our, if you're enrolled for our boot camps and all, you will do that. Thank you so much for joining, everyone that joined. To my guest speakers, to Blessing, thank you. Diego, thank you. Favor, thank you. Thank you so much for being very, 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 very intentional about dishing out the right answers to us at different times. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for answering all the questions. Thank you so much. We hope that everything that you want is going to come to you in Jesus' name and in God's name. Okay, and we hope that we're going to see you more of your faces here on this platform. For everybody that joined, please, thank you so much for sparing out your time. It's weekend. I mean, you could be doing Netflix and chill, but you decided to be here. Thank you so much. Do have a great time. The session is over, and you can check the chat box for the relevant links and all of that. So bye everybody. Have a great weekend. Tomorrow there's cybersecurity for those that are interested, and we're going to be here again tomorrow. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, bye everyone.
Bye, Blessing.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
No, don't talk bye like 20 times now.